currently going on, both in and around the Utah football program. Coach Witt was asked about injury policy. Does he want uniform reporting across the landscape of college football? Breaking news, he does. And what's the latest under center? And what are his thoughts on the ASU, the opponent coming up on Friday night? Juuso Välimäki, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I believe I am. Utah Hockey Club. To get you ready for the hockey match coming up tomorrow, we're going to visit with my buddy Ryan from Epic Brewing, former Utah quarterback Scott Mitchell, and Patrick Manning to talk a little Black Desert Championship. He's the managing partner. He's been on the show before, and he has the ability to get free tee times at Black Desert, so I am happy to have him on the show as much as he would like to join us. So, going to let you hear from Coach Witt, Juuso Välimäki from the Utah Hockey Club, little Scott Mitchell, little Patrick Manning, me, Spence Checketts, all of you, the great listeners. And that guy, Porter Larson, more caught off guard with the chaos in college or pro football over the weekend. Both leagues had, and I say leagues intentionally, both leagues had crazy, crazy games over the weekend.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. More caught off guard, I would say, with the NFL. Just because I don't expect the NFL to be as wild. College football to me is so unpredictable based on, as you mentioned, availability, based on week to week. You just don't know really what you get with a roster full of 18 to 22-year-olds in this current landscape of the sport. So I think I was more caught off guard with the chaos on the pro side of things. But I think that's what's lovely about football. Is that I wasn't really caught off guard by any of it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. But chaos is kind of what you start to expect when it gets into October, November. That's just football, and it's what we're here for, and can't wait for what should be even more chaotic in the coming, month to 6 weeks leading up to conference titles and the college football playoff.
We're halfway done, man. I say it every year. We're halfway done. It's going to be week 7 coming up with the landscape of college football, so enjoy it while it lasts. All right, our first guest. Well, not our first guest, but you're going to hear from Coach Witt. Coming up on the other side, he addressed the media earlier today, and we bring it back to you every Monday as a proud partner of the University of Utah. You'll hear that coming up in a bit. But before we get to Coach Witt, courtesy of our good friends and your good friends, too, it's Standard Restaurant Supply. Standard Restaurant Supply is your tailgate headquarters. Check them out at standardrestaurant.com online or conveniently located at 3500 Southwest Temple. Our good friends at Standard Restaurant Supply bring you your opening tip. So we're back at it this week. We're back at it with both Utah and BYU. Pretty rare where both teams have a bye. Both teams are going to have 2 byes this year. The first bye now behind us. And now Utah football back at it coming up on Friday night. It is an 8:30 kick against Arizona State at Mountain America Stadium down in Tempe. Our pregame coverage will begin at 4:30, meaning the drive that day will be a little bit of a short show, and then I'll hand it over to Porter. Game time weather as of now is 95 degrees in Tempe, even though it's 8:30 Mountain Time. So it's going to be a hot night, as it always is down there. And Utah, at this point, even though they were idle, they did move up in the poll, in the AP poll, as a result of the chaos that happened in college football over the weekend that we're going to get to in a moment. Utah is a 3-point favorite as of right now, okay? And so the line has oscillated a bit, but as of today, if I'm seeing the right line, I think I am, BYU is a 3-point favorite. For BYU side of things today, pretty exciting announcement as Fox Big Noon Kickoff is coming to Provo, coming up on Saturday for that BYU-Arizona game, which is a really big game for a lot of different reasons. We'll get to that. That's a 2 o'clock Mountain Time kick, and BYU is a 3.5-point favorite as we sit here today. So, a couple things here. Over the weekend, we probably should have known because on Friday, Houston, who has not even looked like a serious football team, went down to TCU, got it done. First upset of the weekend. Probably time to start talking about Iowa State a little bit differently. They're the highest-ranked Big 12 team as of now. Brigham Young is second. West Virginia goes to Stillwater. And I said after Utah went to Stillwater, got the win over OK State, Utah went to a place where the team doesn't lose and got it done. Well, Oklahoma State might just be bad. which is bad news for Utah. You know, that win not looking near as good as it did. West Virginia, fine, right? Maybe the seventh or eighth best team in the conference went to Stillwater and laid it on them. It wasn't just 38-14 as a final. It was 31-0 at one point, 31-7 at half, and then West Virginia just cruised to the win. UCF battled down in Florida, but Florida got that done. Kansas also might just be bad. We thought they'd be better. Utah's opponent, Arizona State, got it done there. And then Arizona, after rolling in here and smacking the Utes, goes back home and loses to Tech. It's just a really, really weird landscape in college football, and it happens. It just happens every year. If you listen to the show, first of all, thank you. Hello, how are you? Second of all, you know, I say every year, don't bet on college football because you're not going to win. It's so hard, even for anybody who analyzes the sport, covers it week in and week out. And I'm talking about the highest respected people. Like, I listen to what Klatt says, and I listen to what a lot of the national analysts like Herb Street are about what to expect this weekend, certainly. And we saw a bunch of different examples of it all weekend long. So Vanderbilt, who deserves a little credit here, Vandy is the only school in the SEC where you actually have to fill out paperwork to go to school. You actually have to sign something, and then they make you go to class. They welcome in Alabama, and it wasn't just that they beat them, because Alabama did right the ship. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama, they righted the ship a little bit. It was a close game with a ton of time left in the third quarter, into the fourth, and Vandy held on 40-35 for potentially the biggest win in the history of that program. Goalpost came down. The fans apparently walked 2 full miles while carrying a very heavy goalpost before dumping it into a river near Nashville. For time, look, nobody thought they were going to beat Bama, but just chaos in college football. And it wasn't just Bama. Tennessee, who most people thought had established themselves as a legitimate national championship contender, goes to Little Rock. They lose to Arkansas, so they go home with a loss. Miami should have lost in Berkeley. Shout out to Cal. Some shoddy officiating, to say the least, but Miami escapes with a 39-38 win. A&M smokes Mizzou at Ford Field. Michigan goes up to the Pacific Northwest. They lose to Washington. USC, I hate taking the victory lap every year about this overhyped program. Every year I hear about USC. Save it until they prove it. They're 1-2 in conference play. They lose at Minnesota. And the hits continue. SMU is now in the top 25. That BYU win at SMU looks really, really good. But ultimately, over the weekend, what took place is really good news for both Utah and BYU. We'll start with BYU's side of things. They're one of 12 FBS teams undefeated. They're 2-0 versus the AP Top 25. They're the only team that's 2-0 against the AP Top 25 right now. They move up to number 14 in the country. They're a legitimate top 15 team now. They welcome in Arizona. And Fox, big noon kickoff coming up on Saturday, a game that they're favored in. It's probably safe to say that if BYU wins on Saturday, and then the following week they go to Stillwater and get a win against OK State, again, not a great team, not near as good as we thought they'd be. With all the chaos that's happened in front of BYU, they could be a top 10 program in 2 weeks. Then they go to Orlando, and I promise you there will be a lot of BYU fans in Orlando. I promise you, okay? So they'll go to UCF. UCF, I still think, is solid, probably going to be there in the end. And then they come up here to Salt Lake City to take on the Utes on the 9th. So good news for BYU, because if they handle their business, they'll continue to kind of creep up the standings in a way that nobody thought they would, if we're honest here. And so a lot of teams in front of BYU lose, and as a result of that, even though they were idle, Brigham Young moves up a couple of spots in the AP now to number 14. Now, good news for Utah over the weekend. The reason why the weekend was good news for Utah, let me phrase it that way, is it's pretty safe to say, as of right now, there's an excellent chance that multiple teams in the CFP will have at least 2, 3, maybe even more losses. That's how even all this stuff appears to be, and it's not just in the Big 12, it's pretty much all over the place. But if we hone in on the Big 12 at this point, your undefeated teams right now are Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, and West Virginia. Those are your 5 undefeated teams. Okay, we thought the teams would be K-State, maybe Arizona, certainly Utah, Oklahoma State, and a lot of people like TCU and Kansas. It has been the exact opposite. And I hope that BYU continues to do what they've done so far and win football games, but I don't have a lot of confidence that any of those 5 teams will finish conference play with even a loss, probably multiple losses, because every weekend has brought chaos with the landscape of college football. It's why it's such a great product. We never know what's going to happen, and that's why we all watch. But I do think the chaos over the weekend is good news for both Utah and BYU. All right, last thing here. Let's be clear about this. I'm not reporting anything. I am not telling you this is going to happen. I will remind you that I was the guy last year after the first month when Cam didn't play who told you he wasn't going to play all year, and you got mad at me. I'm the guy last year after the first month who told you Brant wasn't playing all year, and you got mad at me. That's fine. I am not here to tell you that any decision has been made, but I can tell you, based off a conversation I had over the weekend, there is a real feel inside the building that they're not that far off from just rolling with Isaac the rest of the way. Friday night is bigger than I think most people are making it out to be, and I can't say this for sure, but part of me believes, and I have an inclination in my gut to believe, that if we're all watching Friday night, 8:30 Mountain Time, and Utah's offense rolls out onto the field, and it's 11, not 7, there's a chance that that's the deal moving forward, period, end of story. And I get it. I don't know that I fully agree with it, only because I, like all of you, if you've watched Utah football for the past 4 or 5 years, you've seen Cam Rising do things that very few players in the history of this school have done at that position or elsewhere. He is and will go down no matter what. We should be clear about this. No matter what happens with Cam the rest of the way, 2 Pac-12 championships, 2 Rose Bowls, like his place is cemented. He should never pay for a beer in Salt Lake City ever again. I know a lot of you disagree with that because you're frustrated with the thing, but I still believe no matter when it is, even if it's week 7, 8, 9, whatever it is, when he's ready, I still think the job should be his, because the Utah offense simply can be summarized through data and numbers right now. Isaac has 7 picks. That's like 113th in the country in FBS. Utah's 111th in red zone, 113th on third down. Like, okay, you're going to roll with Isaac. I get it. Everyone's frustrated. You have to at some point turn the page and give Isaac all the reps with the ones. But if you're going to be there in the end with his conference and is having something to say about the conference championship, if it's Isaac, it just has to be better somehow, some way. I'm not the offensive coordinator. Those guys know way more about their team than I do. Coach Ludwig earns the benefit of the doubt from you guys. Hopefully he can figure something out, dial some things up if it is Isaac, because the offense has not been good enough. Look, what we know about Utah football this year can essentially be summarized with what we know about the way Kyle Whittingham believes football should be played. And far be it for me to argue with a guy who has a pedigree and a resume like his as to what he should or should not do. Play good defense, take care of the football, establish a good run game, and hopefully balance it out with what, like Kyle likes to say, a good throw game. But they really haven't been able to do any of that with consistency with Isaac under center yet. Now, could it happen? Sure, it could. And I have to wonder that if they do decide to pull the plug and just go with Isaac and turn the page on Cam Rising, would that open up something in Isaac's mind, knowing that the job is his now? I don't know what's going to happen on Friday. Let you guys decide for yourself, because coming up next, we're going to hear from Coach Kyle Whittingham, his media availability from earlier today. He has some things to say about this and a lot of other topics. All right, before we catch a break, I welcome in my guy Ken from Lifestyle Men's Health. Ken, happy Monday, man. How we doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Spence?
Doing well. Appreciate the time. So I'll just speak to what Dr. Peterson and Lifestyle Men's Health have helped me with, then I'll turn the time over to you. I am a man in my mid-40s, and about a year ago, Dr. Peterson came on board and asked if I had ever had my testosterone levels tested, which I had not. Asked how old I was, and she said, well, it couldn't hurt. So we went in, did some blood work, very simple, not invasive, and my levels came back relatively normal, a little bit low, and so she recommended just trying a little bit of testosterone therapy a couple of times a week, which I've done now for a year. And it has made a huge difference. My body looks different. My skin looks different. I'm as trim as I've been in probably 7, 8 years. I'm in much better shape. It helps my workouts. It helps my sleep. So if you're listening and you're a man in your mid-40s, I can tell you should call and ask about this, because it does help. The second part of this is the Vitality Peptides. It's been about 3.5 months, and that has kind of taken it next level, okay? So, again, better sleep. My skin looks better. I just overall feel better with energy and lack of like cloudiness. I'm much more clear mentally. So those two, the peptides and the testosterone, I can give a personal testimonial as to how they've made a difference for me. What's been your experience, Ken, with Lifestyle Men's Health?
Me being in my mid 60s, same, I've gone through the same thing where I'd work out, but I really didn't see a difference. So once I started taking testosterone, because I was on the lower end, and our medical, community, they say normal is between 300, 900. That's just way too low, or too wide of a difference. We need to be 700 plus. I was 425. Now I'm 1087. When I work out, my muscles are defined. The peptides, like you talked about, Spence, the clarity, things just slow down. And if you've ever been in sports, when you're on the top of your game, everything just slows down. So we just want to optimize men's health. And by doing that, we can do that, with testosterone replacement and these peptides. So people should come in. We have mobile labs. We can actually send the labs out to your house. You don't even have to come into the office, but we're very excited about these products.
All right, Ken, what's the special offer you have for our listeners who give you a call today?
Well, anybody that calls in today to want to get the testosterone, what we'll do, we'll throw in the labs, free labs. And so don't hesitate. We can't do this for too many people. So, Spence, give them the number and our website.
All right, guys, today's the day to give them a call. Like I said, we just gave you a lot of info. So the best thing to do is call the number and just follow up and ask some questions because they're very nice people. And yes, real people do answer the phone. So here's the number, 385-458-9203. That's 385-458-9203, 385-458-9203, or online at Lifestyle Men's. I want to tell you about my friends at Diamond Coat. It's premium home siding. They're new here along the Wasatch Front, and you won't believe what they can do to your home's exterior. Diamond Coat Siding Next Generation System delivers the exterior transformation you deserve. To level up to the neighborhood standard, they're the total design solution that shows your personal style. With endless styles and colors for limitless customization, and their 30-year no-fade warranty means your vision will last for decades to come. Designed beyond limits, beyond expectations, with Diamond Coat now available in the Salt Lake City area. Premium home siding, limitless potential, endless styles and colors. They're your design solution, year-round, weather-ready, durable in all seasons, which, of course, is very important here in Utah. Discover more at diamondcoatsiding.com. That's Diamond Coat, spelled Kote, siding.com. All right, we're going to do some Utah hockey coming up with Juuso Valamakis. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I believe that I am. We're going to bring in Scott Mitchell today, former Utah quarterback. Patrick Manning, managing partner in the Black Desert Championship, is heading down to St. George. PGA Tour is back in Utah for the first time in 60 years. But as we do every Monday during the college football season, we let you hear from the head coach of the Utes. Here he is, Coach Witt.
All right. First of all, bye week came at a really good time for us. Gave us a chance to regroup a little bit and get some guys, some of the bumps and bruises that have accumulated, healed up. We've been going, since August 1st, so over 2 months straight without any sort of a break. So it's good for these guys to get a break. I think we, as we do every year, try to strike a good balance with getting some practice in, but at the same time, giving them some downtime to refresh. So Arizona State road trip this week. They're playing well, 4-1. Impressed with a lot of things about their football team. They're much more productive offensively this year than they were able to be last year. The tailback is a tough, hard-nosed guy. Some good receivers. Just very productive on offense. Quarterback is definitely a dual threat. So we got our work cut out for us, and it's going to be hot, which is nothing new to us. We've had a few hot games this year, and so I think 97 at kick is what it's projected to be. But same for both teams, just like always. So we'll just be able to, or have to handle that, and that's where we're at. So questions. Justin, I should say. Question.
Okay. In regards to the Arizona University game, in the first quarter, it was 4th down with 2 yards to go. You decided to go for the first down twice instead of kicking the field goals. It is my belief that if you would have kicked said field goals, we could have kept the momentum and could have potentially won the game. Would you follow the same protocol this week? And he's not a fan of the analytics.
You're not a fan of analytics, so you don't believe in science, is what you're trying to say. There's an argument for that, but the analytics was heavily in favor of going for it in those situations. I've said before, we are pretty tuned into the analytics. It's not absolute for us, and if we have a different feel, then we'll go a different direction. But when it's that heavily skewed to going for it, field goals, obviously touchdowns are worth more than double a field goal, and so if you end up kicking field goals a bunch, you don't win many games. And so in hindsight, if I knew we weren't going to get it on 4th down, we would have kicked, but the strategy and the definite statistical recommendation was to go for it. So unfortunately, we were 0 for 4th down in that game, where we had been really good the week before. We were 4 for 5 the week before at Okie State, so it was a complete reversal of that. But yeah, there's some old school guys. Apparently, you're one of them that would like to kick the field. Okay, thank you for that question, Justin. By the way, appreciate it.
A week ago, you said Cam Rising will play as soon as he gets the go-ahead. Is that go-ahead from the medical staff or the coaching staff? Medical staff,
without any other input. I mean, it's all, we're following the recommendations. He is following the recommendations as well as from the doctors, and we'll see what happens this week. But there's a chance, I can tell you that, and it's still early in the week, but we're medical recommendations. We're not going to, I'm not a doctor. Cam's not a doctor. We're not going to go against that. So that's where we're at.
Kyle, I'm just curious, what is, I guess, your strategy behind how you approach the injury report? And to kind of to follow up on that, the Big Ten and the SEC, they have mandated injury reports.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be in support if the Big 12 were to go in that direction?
100%. Disclose and have an injury report. But I don't think it should be conference to conference. Again, I think P4 should all operate under the same guidelines, the same rules, regulations. And right now it's all over the place. And so I would be in favor of whoever would make that call for all P4 conferences to be aligned and have a consistent way of handling and dealing with injuries. So that's where I'm at.
If a player is medically cleared, but he's not 100%, what's your philosophy on playing him if that player isn't 100%, but whatever percent he is gives you a better chance to win than 100% of the backup? You see what I'm saying?
You answered your own question, PK. Exactly. That's exactly the formula. It's who gives you the best chance to win. Is an 80% Cam Rising more of an opportunity to win than 100% Isaac Wilson? And so that's a coach's decision, a coach's call, and it's just you're not going to be right all the time. But that's the exact criteria we use. And first of all, you don't want to expose the kid to furthering the injury, but you wouldn't get clearance if you didn't, if that was the case. So it would be exactly what you just said. Whoever that particular week gives us the best chance to win, given the physical circumstances, that would be the guy.
Kyle, Cam is obviously your guy, but does there come a point in the season where if Cam isn't available that you have to look to the future and just turn it over to Isaac just to say that this is what it is, or how long do you wait?
Yeah, that's a good question, and there is a point. I'm not going to pin ourselves down to an exact specific time, but as things progress, and then also the conference race, where are you in the conference race? There's some things that enter into it, but it certainly could come to that point, but we're not there yet.
And to follow up, with Isaac, where does he need to make those next steps each week, especially maybe red zone, or what are you seeing that needs to improve?
I would say the entire his entire game just needs to continue to get tighter and better. Cut down on the interceptions first of all. We've had some interceptions along the way, but there's not any one glaring area we can say, boy, he's really lacking in this or that. It's just he's a freshman, a true freshman, and there's going to be a learning curve, and there's going to be mistakes made that you're going to have to live with. And as long as the more reps he accrues and the more time he gets, playing time, the less those mistakes show up, and we're trending in the right direction. That's really what you're looking for.
To kind of piggyback off of that question, given Isaac's struggles with turnovers, is there, if the keys do have to get handed over to him at some point, is there going to be a consideration to maybe get Brandon Rose or Sam Heward more reps, given the struggles that the offense has had without Cam under Isaac?
Not right now. Right now, Isaac is the guy, and if Cam becomes the guy again, then Isaac becomes the clear-cut number two. And again, if Isaac continues to play and doesn't trend in the right direction, then just what you said may come into play. But right now, we don't feel that's in play at this point.
Bernard's had a fantastic season, but what have you seen from the other running backs lately, and how do you get more production out of them?
Yeah, Mekhi has been the bell cow. He's been RB1. He's played himself into that role. He was not in that role initially at the beginning of the season. We're going to let things sort themselves out, which they have. And he is the guy that's getting the vast majority of the carries. The other backs, Mike Mitchell, just a freshman, still learning, but he's added some value to that room and had some good carries this season. Dijon Stanley's done the same thing, although he's more of a limited package guy. Charlie Vincent's contributed. Jalen Glover is a guy that is in the room as well that you may see start to get more time. But Mekhi is the number one guy, and his play has been outstanding, and so that's why he has got the vast majority of the carries.
Bye weeks are important for the players to recoup and rest. For coaches, how much does it help you guys to reset schematically, personnel-wise, just assessing your team?
It gives us a good opportunity to evaluate everything, but there's a lot of recruiting going on as well during the bye week, so it's not just football. Our coaches were on the road for half the bye week, and recruiting never stops. You're doing some form of recruiting every single day, and so when you have a bye week, it lets you physically get off campus and go watch players and evaluate. And so that was going on, but the being able to again self-evaluate and help make personnel decisions going forward, all that type of stuff bye week is a good time to get that done.
Given that Arizona ran for more than 5 yards a carry and over 150 yards, how do you challenge your defense? How do you talk to them in the film room and kind of set the stage, knowing that you're going against a team that likes to run the ball and is pretty good at it?
Yeah, well, just challenge them just like that. Say, if we can stop the run, then we got a good chance of winning, and we did not do a good job against Arizona. We'd done a pretty good job all season up until that game. Well, all season, what was it, 4 games? But that'll be the key this week. They're a run-heavy team. They're well over 200 yards a game rushing, and if we're as non-effective as we were in the Arizona game, it's going to be a long night. And so that is the big challenge for our defense is to stud up and become what we know we can be against the run.
Obviously, you walked into the season kind of because there was rumors floating that Cam could potentially play an 8th year of college football. Given his injury status, is that a possibility if he has to shut down for the rest of the season, that he could potentially come back for an 8th year of college football?
You know what? I couldn't say for sure. That's a compliance question. But if it does come to that point, that's something we would thoroughly have the answer to and research. But haven't even really given that any thought because we're just hopefully going to get him back sooner rather than later. So, and I know he wants to play. He wants to play badly.
With the way that the schedule has been set up, you have this week, next week, and the week after 3 games, and then another bye week. How crucial is this stretch of the schedule for you guys?
Well, it's very crucial. I mean, we got our backs to the wall in a lot of respects right now. I mean, you look at the standings in the Big 12, and there's 2 or 3 teams with 3 losses that are essentially out of it. I mean, I don't see how that any way that they can. I guess I shouldn't say there's no way, but it's very, very unlikely that they're going to have an opportunity to be in the championship game. Then the 2 lost teams have a somewhat of a chance, and everyone with 1 loss or less is still right in the thick of it. But every week we got to get back on track. We didn't play well against Arizona. You can be a good football team and not play well and get your butt handed to you. Look at Alabama. You telling me that Vanderbilt has even close to the personnel that Alabama has? There's no way. I mean, that Minnesota has even close to the personnel that USC has. And so that there's illustrations all over the place where it doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but you can be a really good football team, but if you don't perform and execute, you're going to get beat. And so where we are right now, we can't look past Arizona State. Yeah, there is 3 games and then a bye, but it's all focused on Arizona State, and this is an important stretch, and it's we gotta get the ship turned back around because it was a very disappointing loss against Arizona. The quarterback played well again, Fafita. The receiver's terrific. I don't want to diminish what they accomplished, but we did not play well.
Obviously, you like to have earlier games. I think you said you wanted 4 a.m. games if you could.
Sure, let's go. Yeah.
But when you have these late games, a couple weeks ago with the Arizona game, now you get this game with Arizona State. How do you keep guys, or what do you do as a team to kind of help them kind of stay in the mode and not let the day just kind of get away from them?
Good question. On game day, when it is a late kick, we have, first of all, meetings. There's some short, not extensive, but short offense, defensive meetings, walk through. We have a flex period where they go and stretch out and stay loose. We got a nap period, a designated nap block of time. There's 3 meals that day. You got breakfast, lunch, and the pregame meal later on. And so we find a way to keep them occupied, but make sure they have enough time just to rest and relax and get themselves ready for the game. And it'll be important this week to hydrate. I mean, obviously that was that'll be part of it. And so pushing fluids on game day as well as all week long. But that's a big part of it.
Kind of to shift focus to the red zone issues that personnel and schematic struggles.
Yeah, Cam's very good in the red zone historically, and so that's a part of it. And we're about 20% off where we need to be. It's not like we just absolutely are horrible. We're at 50%, which isn't good by any means, but 70% is our target. And if we can be 70% in the red zone, which we have been several years, then that's good production. And Cam would certainly, an experienced guy like him that's got as much accrued football time, he's going to be very adept at functioning in the red zone.
Yes. Sam Levitt was someone you guys looked at in the transfer portal. What stood out about him at that time, and what challenges does he pose to the defense?
His athleticism. He's a true dual threat, as I mentioned earlier. He's doing a good job with the QB run game for him. He's still really young, and so his development is still, ahead of him. His efficiency rating right now is about 133 throwing the ball, so got some work to do there. But he's doing a really good job of doing what they're asking him to do, and they're doing a really good job of making sure the offense is tailored to his skill set. And he's, like I said, a very capable runner. He's a tough kid. We liked everything about him. We thought he could be a terrific safety as well, or linebacker. I mean, he's one of those QBs that could play 2 or 3 other spots, and he's so athletic, like a Chase Hansen type of a guy. Yeah. Go Yankees. 5:08. Is that the kick? I think that's the first pitch. Yeah, 5:38, something like that. All right.
Let's go, Coach Witt. Porter, it's not talked about enough how similar Kyle and I are. Nobody really that should be discussed more, I think, around the market. We have a lot in common. I'm all gas, no brakes. You sometimes you're in the way, but I'm all in. And Porter, I want to say something to you today. We will not become you. You will become us. Go Yankees.
I'm not joining the Yankees, nor am I. I'm trying to be a part of that particular group. So
the point is how similar Kyle and I are. That's the point.
Okay.
You can see that. Right?
And listen, in a lot of ways, I would love to be like Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah.
That's not one of them. An LA guy cheering for the Yankees. Yeah. Come on, Kyle.
What is the? Do you have the origin story for Coach Witt being a Yankee fan?
I think it was a specific player maybe back in the day or something.
I honestly didn't know that until today. I should have known that.
I do know that he's not a Dodgers fan because he was in more of an Anaheim. So he was like an Angels guy. But they were so bad that I think maybe he veered towards like you say, a team that wins sometimes.
You know what? Maybe Kyle and I will FaceTime you this week when we're shoe film.
Yeah.
Just a couple of Yankees.
I can stop by, too.
Just a couple of Yankee fans that grind on tape. It's not a big deal. Just people should talk about it more. All right.
Go Mets.
All right. Before we catch a break, we welcome in Ken from Lifestyle Men's Health. Ken, happy Monday, buddy. How we doing?
I'm doing well. How about you, Spence?
I'm good, buddy. So I'll let you start. What has your experience been like at Lifestyle Men's Health Clinic? What do you want our listeners to know?
Well, I want to talk about the uncomfortable conversation about erectile dysfunction. And one of the things that we can do at Lifestyle Men's Health is we can fix it. Because, guys, maybe you've tried pills and had side effects, or maybe you've actually tried other treatments without results. Guys, what we do is different. We use stem cells that help regrow healthy blood vessels, which is the root cause of ED in the first place. That's why we brought this cutting-edge treatments to Salt Lake. I can tell you it works firsthand, Spence, because I'm a client. I've seen the results, and they're amazing.
And I can attest to what Lifestyle Men's Health Clinic can do for men around my age, mid-40s, who are feeling a little sluggish. Dr. Peterson and her colleagues at Lifestyle have helped me for about a year with testosterone therapy and the past 3 or 4 months with Vitality Peptides. I'm down to my preferred weight. Haven't weighed this probably since college. My skin looks better. My body looks different. My workouts are better. I'm sleeping better. How can Lifestyle Men's Health help, Ken? Guys around my age that are just feeling a little sluggish right now.
If you think about it, we want to optimize our health as we get older. And, we talked about the testosterone, which is a game changer. So is the peptides. The biggest thing I just wanted to express is you don't know how bad you're feeling until you start feeling better. And that's the one thing that we want you to do. We want you to come into our clinic. We want to do a medical assessment, and then we want to put you on the right path and track to optimize your health as we get older.
Finally, Ken, what's the special offer you have for our listeners who call you today?
Okay, we're going to talk about erectile dysfunction. We're going to have half off of our treatments for those who call in today. Plus, We talked about the testosterone. If you sign up for our Raquel treatment session, we'll actually give you 90 days, 3 months of testosterone for free. That's another $900 value, Spence.
All right, guys, today's the day. Give them a call. And if you have questions about any of the information, just follow up with some questions at 385-458-9203. That's 385-458-9203. 385-458-9203 or online at lifestylemensclinic.com. Ken, thanks so much.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right, Juuso Valimaki is our guest coming up next from the Utah Hockey Club. Keep it right here on ESPN 700. Going to bring in Scott Mitchell today, former Utah and NFL quarterback. All the latest on the QB position at the U. Look ahead to ASU. Talk a little Big 12 football, a little national college football from a big picture standpoint. Chaos, week 6, college football, week 7. My goodness. We're already halfway done, man, as we have turned our calendars to October now. So we'll get to that coming up. Patrick Manning will stop by. It is a historic week in our state as we're going to get golf, PGA Tour golf for the first time in 60 years. And for the first time ever, we get some hockey. Chicago's in town. The Blackhawks tomorrow night at the Delta Center. Yuso Valimaki is our guest on a Monday. Yuso, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm well. Appreciate your time today. So let's just start, as you are new to our fine city, our fine community, and we are thrilled to have you guys here. Excited for tomorrow night. What have you learned about your new home? What have you learned about Salt Lake City and Utah and the folks that you've met so far?
I mean, it's beautiful. That's definitely that one thing that kind of jumps out. And I think the other one that's been really nice to notice is, the people. People are super nice. Everyone's been really welcoming and just around our neighborhood and, obviously around, the rink or wherever we've kind of been. And, you can just sense the excitement that everybody has towards us and the team being here. So that's something that's really exciting and fun and motivating for us. So, probably those two things stand out.
So we've had a couple of your teammates on the show over the past few weeks. I'm going to ask you some of the same questions I asked them because all of us here, Yuso, in the market, we're trying to get to know you guys a little bit. So tell us about yourself, where you grew up, when you first started playing hockey, and the path that ultimately has landed you here in Salt Lake.
Well, I'm from Finland, so I grew up in Tampere there, and I played there until I was 15. Then I went to the WHL. I played in Tri-Cities for 3 years. Got drafted to Calgary. I played there for multiple years, probably 3-4 years. And then I got to Arizona 2 years ago, and then spent 2 seasons with them, and came over with the team to Utah. So that's kind of a short version. So I've been away from my homeland, Finland, for many years now. So, but that's where I started playing hockey and grew up and all that. But I've been on this side of the planet for quite a while now.
Yuso, I might be the 1,000th person to ask you this, but I honestly don't know. Are you familiar with Larry Markkinen, and have you made contact with Larry, who obviously plays for the Jazz and is a Finnish gentleman just like yourself?
Yeah, we've kind of met in April when we came over here to visit, and we've stayed in touch ever since that, and we've seen each other a couple of times. We both have a family now, so the whole families have been kind of linked up a couple of times. We've done some things, and they've been a help, especially at the start, kind of showing around a little bit and telling what's where and kind of how to handle, a lot of things. And, they've been a help, and they're super, super nice family, and definitely kind of exciting to have that kind of connection there with not your team, but still, playing sports and obviously being from Finland. So it's definitely cool.
Did you grow up playing any other sports, or were you all hockey all the way, or did you try other sports when you were younger as well?
I played soccer for like a summer. It wasn't really my sport, so I kind of stopped it pretty quickly. And I used to ski a lot. I know a lot of Utah people love that, and a lot of good opportunities here to do so. So I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. Fortunately, not really allowed to do it anymore, but excited to do that once I'm done at some point in my life. But yeah, I never really played any other sports like competitively for longer periods of time. So it was pretty much hockey for me.
I read that you have a family member that's a pro golfer. Do you ever swing a golf club? Do you like to get out and play a little golf at all?
Yeah, I play golf now, especially during the summer a lot. I really enjoy it. It's something that, kind of makes me relaxed. One of those sports where you just kind of talking or thinking only your next shot and kind of the game of golf. You kind of leave the outside world behind. So I really do enjoy it. And yeah, my cousin actually will be in that tournament in Utah playing for the PGA Tour. So that's pretty cool.
Are you going to head down to St. George and check it out at all?
I think the timing doesn't really work. It's going on the road and stuff. So I wish I could, but I wish it was a little bit closer to even like an hour or two drive. Then it would be kind of makeable. But it'll be too far with the schedule that we have. But maybe another time. Hopefully, one of these years we'll have a chance to do that. Kind of same thing happened last year in Arizona when he was playing at the Waste Management. We just left on a road trip and had a home game there too, so we kind of missed the whole tournament. But that's just how it is.
Yeah, I guess you're busy playing games and practicing because you're a professional athlete, so that's kind of how it goes. Hey, I wanted to kind of kick the tires with you on the type of player that you are, because you're a defenseman, you have really good size, but you have in the past for Calgary and for the Arizona Coyotes scored goals and provided a lot of assists as well. So what sort of player, for our new hockey fans, what sort of player are you?
I'm one of those, kind of two-way defensemen. I really like playing with the puck. I like to, get into the rush sometimes and make some plays, but I think I've established my game to the point where I consider myself as a, reliable on the defensive side as well. First job is to keep the puck out of the net. So, yeah, but I like playing a 200-foot game, and I kind of take pride in both of those kind of areas, the offensive game and the defensive game.
So I wonder, because I've asked your teammates this as well, this is really, as you know, an unprecedented thing in the history of professional hockey for a city like ours to be able to grab a team that isn't an expansion team, that has infrastructure in place. There just obviously was chaos down in Arizona. What was that process like for you when you got a phone call and you're like, hey, just so you know, you live in Utah now? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, kind of at the start, it was, a little bit of a shock in a way that it just kind of happened so quickly, and it's like, kind of a big decision like that is kind of made for you. Like, it's like, hey, okay, well, you guys are all moving to Utah. It's not like you have a say in it or you have a choice to be made there. So, obviously a little bit of a shock like that. But I think what really kind of turned the corner for me and for all of us was the visit down here for those 2 days in April. I think that's just when everybody, realized what we're coming into, how awesome it's going to be and what a nice place it is to live. I think just in that short period of time, you were able to kind of get the idea of how nice it will be down here. And I think it just made everyone like excited and motivated for the summer and for the season to come. So I think after, the initial kind of a shock, what's going on, it turned into, excitement and motivation really quickly.
So I wonder, we've heard from Bill Armstrong over the weekend and Andre Tourney, your head coach, about the decision to make Clayton Keller the first ever captain for the Utah Hockey Club. I guess down in Arizona there was not one captain. It was more of like leadership by committee. So give me the reaction to the locker room that Clayton Keller's been named your captain. What can you tell us about that decision?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, well deserved. I think that's the guy who, we're happy to follow, and he's definitely a great leader. He leads by example. He really cares about his teammates. He really cares about, winning and being at his best every night. And I couldn't be happier that he's our captain, and I think all of us kind of feel the same way, and we're ready to go to war together, and him leading us.
So, big-time addition in the offseason in your positional group with Sergachev being brought in, Mikkel, who's won a couple of Stanley Cups and still certainly is in the prime of his career. Yuso, help me understand what this addition means and how it's been to welcome him into your locker room and in your positional group.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. He's a great guy. Obviously knows how to play hockey pretty. Got some cups and a lot of playoff appearances and all that, so that's valuable for us. There's a lot of from our group from Arizona don't have much of experience there, so I think that's really helpful, and I think he's proved over his career that he can be really impactful player for the team he's playing for, and I think that's what we're expecting off him, and we know he can do that, and obviously a great addition on and off the ice, so we're really happy to have him.
So ultimately, there's a lot of rumor going around in the community about the permanent name of the team. I've got to ask you, so what is your favorite hypothetical name that you've heard thrown out there? And do you know what the team name is going to be when the dust settles?
No, I don't know any more than you guys do. So we're still in the guessing game as well, but. Honestly, I kind of like all of them. I don't think there's one kind of name that I want to throw out there. Take that as whatever you kind of want. But I think it's when you look at the options, I think you can make all of them, really good. You can put in a nice logo. You can make it with the colors. You can, make a nice mascot, all that stuff. So. I'll be happy either way.
There's not one favorite that you like that you want to throw out there? There's not one that stands out?
No, I'm not going to say mine.
All right.
Just in case.
No, that's smart. That's the way to go. Hey, we've been having this debate about who the rival club will be for you guys. Now, regionally, Colorado seems to make sense, but they're really good, and this is a new thing, and oftentimes rivalries kind of take place. I've always been of the opinion rivalries take place in playoff action or when there are really big games on the line, not just like regular season battles. Any thoughts on who the rival club will be for the Utah Hockey Club?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be kind of dictated a little bit how the games kind of start going. The most heated matchups that we'll have against might just kind of decide it for us. But I think kind of realistically, Colorado, like you kind of said, makes probably the most sense. Being kind of close, and both of us, we have a little bit of altitude on the air, and like just kind of like similarities in that way. And obviously we'll be playing against each other quite a bit. So that would, in my head, that would kind of make sense. But I guess the games will kind of decide it for us, and see how it goes.
So Bill Armstrong often talks about this rebuild process that the club is going through and has gone through for a while. And you've been with the club. This will be your third year, so you've kind of experienced this rebuild. You were a part of it when you were acquired as, I believe, a 22 or a 23-year-old. So help us understand what the process, Yuso, has been like so far and what you guys believe the next steps are in this rebuild process.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's a little bit, different, I guess. In the last couple of years, especially kind of during the trade deadline, there's been a lot of deals. We kind of dealt a lot of guys, and that's something that's a little bit difficult and hard when you're losing your teammates, and I it's obviously we haven't made playoffs or haven't won too many games like that, so I guess that's kind of a little bit part of it. I don't really like thinking about it in that way. I think the whole kind of word rebuild and what it kind of means, I think it's more for the management, and that's obviously they have to have plans for each year, but for a longer time as well. I think as a player, you just kind of want to you obviously want to win every single game that you're playing in at, and you want to improve as a player. You want to focus on getting better, and not worrying about what's kind of happening outside of you. I've heard the phrase "control what you can control" about a million times in my career from some wise people, and I think that's as a player, that's kind of what you need to do, and I don't think you can worry about too much on what's going on in higher up. At the end of the day, my job is to play the best I can and try to help my team win, and that's what I've tried to do for the last 2 years, and I think all of us in the room, we've had the same mindset. We've we just wanted to do our best and win as many games as possible, and all the rest is kind of out of our control. But I think obviously going into the year, we are excited about the group that we have. A lot of us have kind of we are the same. Like you said, we have experienced a lot of stuff. So I think we are all ready to take a step forward. Win more and more games and really make a push and kind of a splash around the league. So I think we're all ready for that. We've all grown a little bit. I think we have the pieces to get better and be better. And I think something that we talk about as a group is still kind of taking things day at a time. There is all kinds of noise and everything going around with being a new team, everyone being excited, and on and on. But I think for us as a group, what we want to do is just focus on each day, focus on being better. Each game day, winning that game, and that's what we're focused on now, and tomorrow we'll be focused on being in Chicago on an opening night.
Oh, well said. You're a pro. You've done this before. That was an excellent answer, Yusuf. I appreciate your time today. Best of luck tomorrow. Stay healthy, and we'd love to do it again, all right?
Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, Yusuf Alamaki, he's a defender. He plays on the defensive side for the Utah Hockey Club, but he scores goals, and he provides service. So he'll be utilized in power play attacks, and such. So please appreciate his time. Yeah, he has 9 goals and 58 assists in his career, including 30 assists 2 years ago for the Arizona Coyotes. All right, got to tell you about my friends at Clearwater Distilling. It's the only distillery in Utah County open on Sundays. They have great spirits. They've got a tasting room and really some of the nicest people around. They're doing their limited release Wednesday whiskey batch number 2. It's a mix of their bourbon and rye whiskeys. They've got the Scandalous, the Renee. Check out their vodka. It's available now in most state liquor stores. Football season is kicked off, and Clearwater is the official spirits provider for our VIP ESPN tailgate that we have at every home game. Do yourself a favor. Check vintage, prohibition, prescriptions, and decor. Try their Scandalous. It's a no sugar, no additives, great tasting grown-up version of cinnamon whiskey. They have ultra premium spirits. You can buy their spirits in state liquor stores, online, or take a trip to their beautiful distillery. You can grab some booze, some local cigars, and immerse yourself in the Clearwater Distilling culture. Check them out at clearwaterdistilling.com, located 564 West, 700 South down in Pleasant Grove, Suite 401. All right, before we catch a break, we welcome in Ken from Lifestyle Men's Health. Ken, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, and I got to tell you, I missed the tailgating.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a great scene up there. We only have 3 Utah home games left, which kind of breaks my heart, but it's been a lot of fun. Anytime you want to roll up, you definitely should. Just let us know. All right, so let's start here. For a while, there was a treatment in our market for erectile dysfunction that has proven to be ineffective. And unfortunately, a lot of listeners, a lot of people in the market went and tried it. They paid good money for it, and it hasn't worked for them. So let's start with why your treatment for erectile dysfunction is different than the other companies that we've had in the market.
Sure. First, I'll tell you this. I actually tried the other treatments, and it didn't work for myself either. And that's why I went out and I met Dr. Angela Peterson. I met with her, and what she was offering in the, space, if you will, was the stem cells, regenerative. The tissues, as we get older, get shrinking. And so with the using stem cells, it actually opens those tissues up and grows brand new blood vessels. That's why I became her partner. We want to bring this to as many men as we can. I'm actually down in Scottsdale, Arizona, our clinic down here. And then, of course, Dr. Angela Peterson is up there in Salt Lake in the Draper area. And I tell you, it works. It's different. It treats it. It fixes it. It's not a Band-Aid. And the results are amazing. Like I said, I'm a client, and I'm here to spread the word. And please, we can help. So take that plunge. Give us a call. We'll give half off the treatment cost right now for those people who call today, because we're here to help as many men as possible.
In addition, Ken, you guys can offer testosterone replacement therapy, which I've utilized for a year with unbelievable results. Dr. Peterson has this great line. She says, you don't know how bad you're feeling until you actually start to feel better. And she's just spot on. Testosterone therapy, Vitality peptides, I've been using those for about 3 or 4 months. They've also made a big difference just in my skin, and I feel better. I don't know how to put it. I just have much more energy, and I don't have that brain fog. How can you help our listeners with Vitality peptides and testosterone therapy?
A couple ways. First of all, with the testosterone, we're going to do, for those who call in today, we're going to do free labs. We have to do labs to check out, see where your testosterone levels are at in the first place, so we know the dosage to prescribe. Secondly, if you do call in today, those labs are free. And also, adjacent to our stem cell therapy, if you sign up for that, we'll give you 90 days free testosterone treatment, and that's another $900 value.
Jeez, I wish I signed up today, but I've utilized it a year ago.
You
All right.
can, Spence.
All right, there you go, guys. Here's the number. I didn't know they were doing that today. That's actually a steal. So call them immediately at 385-458-9203. That's 385-458-9203. 385-458-9203 or online at lifestylemensclinic.com. Ken, thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. Go Utes.
All right, there you go. Go Utes. More coming up on a Monday. Keep it right here on ESPN 700. All right, we got Scott Mitchell rolling by in about 30 minutes from right now, former Utah quarterback, for all the latest on Utah football, as it is game week. Once again for the Utes after a bye, BYU after a bye as well. But it's a historic week in our community for a couple reasons. We have pro golf back in town down south in St. George. But we have the NHL making its debut tomorrow night in Salt Lake. I'm still laughing and shaking my head every time I say that as a child of the Northeast. And our next guest from Epic Brewing, we got Ryan and we have Gus. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you coming in the studio. So, Gus, I understand it's not surprising. You look like a hockey player.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment. You're stout. Let me guess. You're not a defenseman, right?
No.
Yeah.
Could you guess by the height?
Sorry, I didn't want to say it out loud, but you're not tall enough to be a defenseman, right? Attacking player. You winger?
Yep, exactly that.
Knew it. Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite hockey team?
Ooh, I mean, now it's got to be Utah Hockey Club.
It's got to be.
Hands down. But growing up, it was tough. I kind of bounced around from team to team. Didn't
Okay.
really have a team to align with until just a couple months ago. So
Right on.
I'm stoked.
So I'm trying to think, does Bountiful High have a hockey team?
They do. I actually, when I grew up in Bountiful, I played for Viewmont because they didn't have a hockey team.
The hated Viewmont's like Bountiful's rival, isn't it? Or is that Woods Cross these days? I can never keep up.
I don't know. I think when I was at Viewmont, it was Davis more than Bountiful or Woods Cross.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of bounced around.
Okay, right on. Good old Davis County people. Love my Davis County people. Okay, Ryan, let's dig in here. Hockey is here now, and you guys at Epic are obviously prepared. Want to remind folks, let folks know, coming up tomorrow, I'm going to be on remote at Epic. It's right on State Street. It's 825 South State. Check out their website, which is epicbrewing.com. But if you like beer and hockey, and it seems like a lot of people who like beer like hockey, and I can tell you most people who like hockey like beer.
Yes.
Tell us about this new Hip Check Ice Imperial Lager you have.
Yeah, so this is a brand new beer from Epic. It was Gus's brainchild when we found out the hockey team was coming here. Gus is like, we got to do a hockey beer.
Yeah.
And one of the owners of Epic also, Peter, he still plays hockey. He grew up playing hockey. He's still in like an old man like hockey league, so
Nice.
It really fits with Epic. But yeah, so we've got a new beer. It's called Hip Check Ice Imperial Lager. It's 7.5% crystal clear light lager beer. You can definitely catch a buzz off of it. Great beer to pregame with. It's pretty simple. It's not a really, really crafty beer. It's light. It's easy drinking. It's crisp. It's a good one to drink cold. And I don't know, should we open one up?
Yeah, crack it open. And also 7.5% is enough that you know what you're doing, but it's not too much where you're going to be, feeling it a little bit the next day. So you landed on a good percentage. Is that fair to say?
I'd say it's a pretty good number, but yeah, you can definitely, it's a little bit stronger than your average lager beer.
Sure. So Gus, what was the process like creating this new beer as far as the tie with hockey? Like tell me the origin story, how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was probably listening to you when I heard the news that we were getting a hockey team officially. And we do a meeting every week. We've got all spectrums of the brewery in there: sales, brewers, cellarmen, front house, back house. Everybody's in there. And I said, hey, you guys, look at the news. Look what's happening in Salt Lake. Let's do something to celebrate this. So yeah, from there, our head brewer took the reins and decided that he wanted to roll with a lager, something nice and easy drinking, to go well with hockey.
So honestly, I'm completely unfamiliar with the process. I've got a couple of buddies that are like amateurs, right? They get the home thing, they do the home brewery situation. Never really that good, but they try hard, right? What's the process start to finish? Like, take us through what's it like to create a craft beer like this?
Yeah, Clue, you probably know better than I.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rod.
Gus and I, we're both on the sales side of things. But really, I mean, first you come up with the concept, like what kind of beer do you want? And for this, we wanted a beer that was a little bit stout, but a little bit on the lighter side also. And I mean, if you take a look at it, it's crystal clear. It actually is probably one of like the lightest looking, like clearest beers
look like a true lager
that we have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a true lager. And we wanted a beer that we thought maybe like old school hockey players would like to drink.
Okay.
And we came up with this where it's a little bit stout. It's super light. It drinks like a beer drinker's beer. It's kind of beer flavored beer, like what do you think beer tastes like? Like it's this. And we're really excited about it. I actually haven't really had a chance to like bring home a couple of cans of beer and really like snuggle up and dive into it.
Sure,
But I
yeah.
think tomorrow night will probably be that.
Well, it's always interesting to me because it seems like, and you guys are the experts, so I'm going to make an observation. You tell me if I'm wrong. It seems like there's this race to make the best IPA or the best like triple IPA.
Sure.
And sometimes it tastes like dish soap or like tree bark, right? So
Well, maybe more so your home brewer friends. I feel like
sure,
getting
sure.
stuff
But
locally.
is that kind of the scene right now? It feels like IPAs have taken over the past 5 or 6 years. They've really kind of.
Oh yeah,
You know,
IPAs have taken over. There's kind of an evolution. I feel like to drinking beer though.
Uh-huh.
You start drinking beer. I don't know, when you're younger, you drink really light beers. You kind of like graduate to drinking IPAs and dark stouts and things like that. And then as you like really mature into beer drinking, you kind of fall back to these light lager beers. There's a lot of nuances to them, and yeah, they're really tasty drink. I find myself drinking a lot more light beer these days.
As long as you don't go back to going to 7, getting the 24 pack of like Natty Ice.
Yeah, you don't
for
really
like
go back there. No, you
$5.99.
fall back to like the fancier, like the nicer, like classic like lager beers.
Let me follow up with you, Ryan, because I mentioned this earlier. You guys have always, from my vantage point, it's always seemed to me you're at the forefront, right? You're the first to figure out how to offer beer on Sunday. You're the first to offer, an IPA of this. It seems like you guys have been kind of pioneers in our. Now there are a lot of breweries that have popped up, but I was mentioning to you off air, you guys were like the one spot to go to on Sundays before other spots opened up. What's it about Epic that seems to be on the forefront of beer creation in our market?
I mean, that's kind of how Epic started. I mean, we wanted to be creative. We wanted to make beers that you couldn't get in Utah. It's hard to remember, but 10, 15 years ago, I mean, there were some good breweries here. Uinta was here, Wasatch was here, but really as far as like craft beer was like there wasn't a lot. And Epic came out and started making like really, really creative beers. And then the breweries around here, I feel like kind of upped their game. And now there's like all sorts of breweries around here that are making great stuff. But we try to be cutting edge. We're always trying to be on top of it and trying to be like ahead of the game a little bit and just trying to be creative, and it's fun.
And it does feel like I was in Denver last year, and I always do the thing that we all do, like compare Salt Lake to Portland or Denver, like cities in our region. And Denver has a real thriving, that downtown area where there are breweries like next to each other, stacked on top of each other for like 4 or 5 blocks. Maybe we'll get there at some point, but how have you seen this scene kind of grow since you got involved in our marketplace over the past few years?
It's
much
unbelievable,
different, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing how good there's so many good breweries around here. I mean, shoot, guys, how many breweries do you think there are within walking distance of like where we are now? Like 8?
Ooh, yeah, there's probably at least 8, and I think there's 2 or 3 more if you include cideries coming up as well. So yeah, there's a lot.
It seems like there's a bunch down where, like west, like a little west. There's like a little
kind of southwest
like
Salt Lake City.
spot,
Yeah,
so-
there's breweries all over the place. It's great. I mean, bike tours, walking tours, like you can hit a ton of breweries. It's almost better than Denver for what it is, because they're consolidated into a smaller place.
Yeah.
I don't know. We like Salt Lake City better than Denver. It's easy to trash on those guys a little
That's
bit,
why.
but-
So Gus, is Colorado? Is that going to be our rival, the Avalanche? Is the hockey club rival going to be the Avalanche?
Yeah, I think that's a go-to rival.
Okay.
Yeah, that only makes sense.
They're really good this year, though, right?
They're always good as of late.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Ryan, tell me about, you brought a couple of other, definitely check out epicbrewing.com. If you like beer and hockey, you're going to love the new release. It's called Utah Hip Check Ice Lager. It's a 7.5% Imperial Lager, but it doesn't taste like a 7.5%. That's the other thing. Sometimes when the content's a little high, take a sip and it's biting you right away. It doesn't taste like it's a 7.5%. Yeah, is that fair?
Super fair. This thing's real easy drinking, and that was kind of the point. We wanted something easy drinking. There, maybe you could catch a buzz off of it if you wanted to.
So the address is 825 South State Street. I'm going to be down there tomorrow from 2 to 6. Come hang out prior to the hockey game. I'm going down to the hockey game after my remote, so come hang out, have a beer, and pick up a free hockey puck. Ryan, tell us about it.
Yeah, we've got some Epic branded hockey pucks we're giving away to anybody that stops by and comes in to hang out. Actually, while supplies last, we don't have a ton of them, but
And they're cool. They got the Epic logo, and it is a hockey puck. So before I say you lose, tell me about these other beers you brought in.
Yeah, we brought a couple seasonal beers down. We have our Munich Mayhem Oktoberfest beer. So I don't know if you can see the label here, but it's kind of got like a German punk rock theme.
Very nice.
Colored lager, so it's got a little bit more malt flavor to it. And then, Gus, I'd like to talk about the other beer we brought down.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Sure. Yeah, we brought our Imperial Pumpkin Porter as well. It's definitely porter first with the pumpkin and spice flavor coming in second. So it's not going to be like your Starbucks pumpkin spice latte. It's going to be much more subtle. The pumpkin really complements the porter base.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks for coming in, and I will see you both tomorrow at the remote, okay?
Awesome. Right on.
Yep,
Cheers.
tomorrow.
All right. So my guys, Ryan and Gus, from Epic Brewing. I'm going to be down there tomorrow afternoon before the hockey game at night. It's 825 South State Street. Website is epicbrewing.com. It's a brand new beer. It's the Utah Hip Check Ice Lager. It's a 7.5% Imperial Lager, but it does not taste like it's a higher alcohol content. It's very smooth drinking. So come join me tomorrow afternoon. Then let's go to the game together. It's 825 South State Street. All right, more coming up next right here on ESPN 700. Thanks, guys. You put some thought into this one, didn't you? We did a little Pearl Jam for our guys Ryan and Gus from Epic. I'll be down at Epic for a remote tomorrow. Come down and hang out prior to the hockey game. It's 825 South State Street. They've just released a new beer. If you like beer and hockey, you're going to love the new release from Epic Brewery, and it's the Utah Hip Check Ice Lager, 7.5% Imperial Lager. So I'll be down there tomorrow. But it is almost 4 o'clock, and we're about to make people better men.
Exactly.
Look at you.
I did put some thought into the bump on this one. It was not an accident.
Right.
I told you to get ready for it.
Okay, no, I'm very impressed. How are we going to make you a better man? Well, I'm about to tell you. For about a year now, I've been on testosterone replacement therapy. My friend Dr. Peterson from Lifestyle Men's Health came on board, and she asked me if I'd ever had my levels tested, which I had not at the age of 45. And she said, well, let's check it out. Came back pretty normal, but a little low. And she said to me, I'll never forget it, you don't know how bad you're feeling until you start to feel better. Well, I can report after 1 year of testosterone replacement therapy and about 4 months on vitality peptides, I look better, I feel better. My workouts are easier because I have more energy. I'm sleeping more. I don't have that brain fog. I used to drink coffee all day. Now I have one little cold brew in the morning, and I'm good. So that's what Lifestyle Men's Health has been able to do for me. Let's welcome in Ken. Ken, what has Lifestyle Men's Health been able to do for you?
You know, Spence, it is a game changer. You know, with testosterone replacement and peptides, it just helps us men live a better life. You know, we're optimizing our performance, and I like to call it peak performance, but also and 50% of men over 40 deal with this. And so, guys, what we do is different. We use stem cell therapy to help regrow blood vessels with it, which is the root cause of ED in the first place. That's why we brought this cutting-edge treatment to Salt Lake City. And I know it works firsthand because I'm a client, and it's amazing. Now, unfortunately, insurance doesn't cover this. But we have worked very hard, Dr. Peterson and I, to bring the cost down. Our margins are very low, but we take any major credit cards. One of our partners is Mountain America Credit Union at 0% financing as well.
And what is that special offer, Ken, you have for our listeners who give you a call today?
Okay, so our ED treatment, 50% off. Plus, if you need testosterone, we'll give you 90 days, 3 months for free. That's another $900 value. So don't waste time. Call us today.
That's a massive deal, and it's a new deal that they haven't offered before. As I said last segment, I wish I waited until today to sign up. But, hey, sign up today. Get that extra added value. Give them a call at 385-458-9203. That's 385-458-9203. 385-458-9203 or online at lifestylemensclinic.com. Ken, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
2 hours down, 2 hours to go. Our guest coming up on the other side is Scott Mitchell, former Utah quarterback. Then we're going to move over to Patrick Manning, the managing partner for the Black Desert Championship. So we'll do a little golf, then back to college football in the 5. It's a drive on a Monday. It's good to have you with us right here on ESPN 700. Saints Chiefs tonight, 6 o'clock Mountain Time from Arrowhead. You can hear that game on our radio station right after we say goodnight at 6 o'clock. You'll hear from Coach Witt in the 5 o'clock hour if you missed his meeting. And former Utah quarterback, former NFL quarterback. Always a pleasure to catch up with Scott Mitchell. Scott, happy Monday, sir. How we doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I felt like last weekend's college football was Oprah Winfrey giving the top 15 teams losses. You get a loss, and you get a loss, and you get a loss. It was like everyone who was important, including Alabama, lost this weekend. It's a crazy weekend in college football.
Yeah, certainly. And it feels like, Scott, let's start with this from a macro standpoint. If we can look at this as good news for Utah fans, there will be multiple teams in the CFP that have multiple losses, and not just 1 and 2, maybe even 3 and 4 with the way this stuff is going. Would you agree with that statement as of now?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because most of the conferences have 16 teams, 14, 16 teams, and so they're not necessarily all playing each other. Maybe these teams are playing harder teams now because they know, hey, I can have a couple of losses and still make it in the college playoffs. Maybe it's NIL. Maybe the talent is just spreading around the country and there's more parity. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of factors that go into this because you don't really feel like, okay, there's just one team. Maybe it's Texas, maybe it's Ohio State that are the best teams in the country. But beyond that, it certainly is pretty wide open, which should give you a hope. You get in the playoffs and you go, look, we don't have to beat this team every week, but we can beat them one week, and everyone's kind of proven that they can at least lose at one time, and that's kind of exciting. It's something that'll be fun to watch, and it can be very competitive. But as far as it relates to Utah, man, you got to be a little bit relieved. You got to feel like, okay, hey, we kind of screwed it up in our game against Arizona, but look at Alabama. Look at some of these other schools, and the reality is it can happen to anyone, and it really can. I mean, I've seen this at all levels and all teams. They just have a night when it's just not their night.
So game week for the Utes, Friday night. It's a late kick. FanDuel has Utah as a 6.5-point favorite, even though they're on the road. The line opened up Utah -5, and it's gone the way of the Utes a couple of different times. Let's start with this, though, Scott. Over the weekend, I talked to somebody up on campus, and Coach Witt just alluded to this in his media this morning. This is not set in stone, but I'm told that there is a feel that if Cameron can't go on Friday and it's Isaac again, that they're getting close to just giving Isaac that job. Give me your take on that, because for me, I still believe for them to win the Big 12, Cam has to be under center. And it's not Isaac's fault. He's 18. He's a freshman, just enrolled in school. But Friday night, you're calling the game. And if the first team O runs out and it's Isaac under center and not Cam, do you feel like we're inching closer and closer to the day where Coach Witt and Coach Ludd and those guys just need to give Isaac the job and just roll with the young kid?
Well, if that's the case, then this injury is much more significant than we think, and it hasn't appeared like it is. Watching Cam, he looked terrible warming up against Oklahoma State and looked better against Arizona. I would be really surprised if he doesn't play on Friday. He clearly, from experience, from ability, gives Utah the best chance to win, if he's healthy. But if it is Isaac, and if they do start going that direction, it's one of those, it's like no matter what with a young quarterback, you're just going to get good and bad. Like, so last week against Arizona, the bad part was the team is not, it's kind of like in a funk. And a veteran quarterback will kind of rally the troops, and Cam Rising would rally the troops. And Cam Rising would say, okay, we've got to go win this game in the second half or win this game. And there were plenty of opportunities in the second half for that to happen, and it just didn't. It's like the young quarterback team just kind of accepted its fate, and they just weren't able to get anything going. And that's just youth, and that's inexperienced. And that game against Arizona is the perfect example of when you need a Cam Rising. So you're going to go through more of those times. If Isaac does play, hopefully you'll see that, okay, go win a football game mindset from him moving forward when they really need it. Because a quarterback is the biggest difference maker in college football, and that's what Cam Rising was. I mean, there were so many times he made incredible plays, and it was just Cam Rising making plays through the years when Utah won Pac-12 championships. And it was him going out and winning football games. And that's a guy who's a leader, who's confident, who is mature, who's ready to do that. A freshman right out of high school, the maturity level just isn't quite there. So if you go with Isaac, you're just going to have ups and downs. And hopefully you just see progress. And if you see a lot of progress, then you go, that's really exciting, because you take your lumps for a year with Isaac, but then you have 2 or 3 years, however long he stays in school, whatever he does. Then you have a lot of time with him where you're going to have that mature quarterback. You're going to have that difference maker, and that's huge. It's huge to a team, and it's hard to kind of go through those pains as a team with a young quarterback, but it can pay dividends down the road.
At what point, Scott, in your opinion, as somebody who played the position and, put yourself, I suppose, in the shoes of both Cam and Isaac, at what point do you think the right time is to just give Isaac the job? Is it Friday if Cam's not ready? Do you still wait? I mean, part of me believes that whenever Cam's ready, he's got to be back under center, even if that's not for another 3 or 4 weeks. Then the other side of me believes that Isaac probably, if he's going to be the guy, needs the reps with the ones, period. And if it's going to be his job, then let's just move on with it. What's your opinion on that?
Oh man, it's a hard. There's an argument that you don't lose your job because of an injury. There's some coaches. Bill Belichick just went away from Drew Bledsoe, who was a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL when he was benched for Tom Brady, who was kind of a 7th round nobody. And for a lot of time, I think a lot of people go, okay, well, Drew Bledsoe, when he comes back, is going to be the guy. And it just never happened. And I think so much of it is a coach just making a decision on who's the guy that gives us the very best chance to win. Historically, Earl Morrall comes in for Bob Greasy and, leads the Dolphins to a perfect regular season, and then gets benched in the playoffs, and Greasy wins a Super Bowl for him. So, maybe it is a combination of both of those things. But I'm more like you. I really think you go with the guy with the most experience that gives you the best chance to win today. And developing is really for teams that are not very good, right? And this Utah team, as you pointed out in the beginning, has a shot to go to the playoffs, and it's anybody's game there. And I think that's something that really should be the ultimate goal for this Utah team is we got to win today. We got to win now. We got to put the best players on the field that give us a chance to do that.
Here comes the most obvious statement in the history of sports talk radio. If you're a quarterback, you need a healthy hand. If you're a kicker, you need a healthy foot. So there it is. But, Scott, as somebody who played the position, help us understand the mechanics of why it is so challenging for Cameron to get the zip back with an injury like he has to his hands and his fingers.
Yeah, see, I've kind of gone the rounds with this, and some guys have shoulder injuries or other injuries, and separations, and they're able to play. I had a 3rd-degree shoulder separation on my throwing shoulder when I was playing for the Miami Dolphins, and I came back after 5 weeks, and my arm was a rag. But I was like, I don't care. I want to play and help our team. We were one of the top teams in the NFL at the time, and I had a chance to go be a free agent. So I was highly motivated to play. When you have those injuries, it's kind of an individual thing. Like some guys are really good at tolerating pain. Like their pain threshold's just really good, and other guys are kind of wusses. And it's just like, and you can't pick who they are. It's almost a personality thing. It's almost just how we kind of deal with pain. I know myself, I know a lot of guys played with a lot of pain, and I'm sure that's happening here. I don't know that Cam probably this year will ever get to where his hand is totally free, but to me, those 2 fingers, your middle finger, your ring finger, I don't know that they have, that they're the most important thing that you have, but when you're highly trained athlete, a football player, at least for me, the slightest variation in something could really throw things off because you're so acutely attuned to your body and, how it functions and you feel so many things. And, just a slight variation on your wrist when you release a pass changes its trajectory, and you almost subconsciously do it, so there's just these really fine things that happen that could easily be thrown off. I would imagine it would affect him, but I would also know that when you get out in a game and you get that adrenaline flowing, you kind of throw it all out the window and you deal with the pain after the game's over.
So ultimately, as you know, you can't simulate a game, right? And so if Cameron's cleared, are you expecting some rust to start? Does he have enough experience under his belt that he should be good to go? Or, after taking a few weeks, not taking a few weeks, after missing a few weeks via injury, what's a reasonable expectation for Cam should he be under center on Friday night?
Well, Cam's game has always been he's mobile. He makes a lot of plays with his legs, and that's the biggest thing. That's you just don't have game shape. There's a thing they just call it. It's in game shape. By having games. I mean, that's part of why they have the non-conference games, preseason games in the NFL, is so that when you hit the regular season, you've had enough game experience, tempo, to where, okay, I'm ready for it. And it does. It takes some time when you've been out. I mean, he's been out, I don't know, almost a season and a half now, and that's hard. I mean, the experience, riding a bicycle thing, that's there. But the physicalness is not, and it's an adjustment. You can get by a lot on your savvy and your experience and your, especially with what I think this team is, because I think there's a lot of good players that just haven't been totally assimilated into things because you have a young quarterback. And, Money Parks and the tight ends and some of these other wide receivers are just not quite getting the same touches that I think they would if Cam was in there. And you can kind of rely on those guys more than you rely on your legs and as you're kind of getting into game shape. But the leadership, the savvy, I would take that with the rust and the maybe not having game condition just yet.
So, Scott, it's safe to say, and the data says as much, that the offense, with Isaac it hasn't been good enough. And of course, it's not all on him, and it's hard to put any of it on such a young kid who enrolled in April, but 111th in red zone, 113th in third down conversion. Are these problems alleviated instantly when Cam comes back? And attendant to the question is, in the meantime, as long as it's Isaac, what can be done to make this offense look a little bit more efficient starting Friday night?
One of the things, let's just take the red zone to start with. The red zone is easier to score the further you're out. So maybe from like the 20 to the 12, take your shot in the end zone because they still have to cover the field, and it's easier to get those throws into the end zone. That's one way. And we used to do it all the time in the NFL. There's certain coverages you can almost predict to be 100% when teams get in the red zone. And so if you get that coverage, you really like it, and you take your shot, 20-yard line to about the 12, 13. And then like last week where they got to the 9-yard line, which is the kiss of death, like first and goal from the 9. It's the longest you can go without getting a first down. Where Utah's done really well in the past, even with Cam Rising, is they've run the football. And you've got all these tight ends and all these people, and it's like this is big boy power football. This is who you are, Utah. Make a commitment. If you're right there, just run it. Don't try to, because it's so hard to throw in those tight situations, and it's amplified by 10 when you're a young, inexperienced quarterback. Like you just don't know. And or if you're going to throw the ball to Caleb Lohner, understand how to utilize where his asset is, and that's throw the ball high. But it's not that simple because in a game situation, you got all this stuff coming at you, and you throw it too soon or throw it inaccurately. You've got to really be a little bit patient and let him get position and then throwing the football. And that just takes time. It takes practice. It takes talking. But whatever you do, like, be committed to it. It just felt like Utah was kind of, well, we'll try this, we'll try that, we'll kind of try all these things, and they're just a little bit better when they it was like, take your shots to the end zone further out, run the ball when you get close, throw the ball up to kick, because it's a real weapon that they haven't totally utilized with Caleb Lohner. And then the third down, believe it or not, Spence, is kind of easy. You got to win on first down. You win on first down. So whatever the defense is giving you, and a lot of Utah is getting kind of this pressure look on early downs. So if you run the ball or throw the ball, whatever you do, succeed on first down, because then you make third down short if you ever get to third down, and then there's a lot more you can do. You can throw the ball, you can run the ball, you can run the ball if it's third and short, and run the ball again on fourth and short. But it just makes it a lot easier. The percentages go in your favor if you win on first down.
So if it is Isaac on Friday, what sort of game plan are we expecting? You've talked a lot during this interview about just stick to your identity and commit one way or the other. Are we going to see Coach Ludd maybe continue to give Isaac more space? Do you look at what happened against Arizona and reel the playbook back to simplify it and maybe just run the football more and look like a football team whose head coach is Kyle Whittingham? If it is Isaac on Friday, what do you think the offensive schematic attack looks like, Scott?
So usually in bye weeks, you kind of look and you go, who are we? What's our identity? What are we known for? We're tough. We're physical. We're going to run the football. And I would anticipate that's what Utah's, we got to stop the run. Arizona State's a very good run team. So you got to stop the run. You got to run the football. And that's where it's going to focus. And so everything offensively plays off of the run, and that means play action. But if you're going to run the football, you better expect that they're going to bring pressure, the run pressure. They're going to put more guys in the tackle box than you have there to block, and so you've got to have answers to that. So you do get that win on first down, because teams know if we can stop Utah on first down, we pretty much are going to lock them down, and so that first down becomes huge. So bringing in the extra blocker or bringing in more tight ends on early downs, play action. There's a lot of throws that Utah has, especially to the tight ends in the short to intermediate area on early downs, that have always been a really large component of this team. So I would expect seeing a lot of that. And the other thing I haven't seen a lot of is wide runs. Where's Dejon Stanley or Money Parks on these fly sweeps and these reverses, because there's so much of the run has been straight ahead and to the inside, and maybe you'll see a little bit more of that as it goes forward. But everything, if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd say that's what Utah probably would do.
Tell me what you've seen from Isaac when he throws his INTs, because statistically 113 FBS quarterbacks have less than 7 picks. And Isaac is right there when it comes to the national rankings with 7 interceptions. It's never on one person or the other. Are you seeing bad decisions? Are you seeing broken routes? Are you seeing a rushed young quarterback? What, Scott, from your trained eye, do you see when Isaac throws the picks?
So a lot of it is you predetermine in your head where you're going. You practice this play all week in practice, and you've just always thrown it to this guy. And for whatever reason, and you just don't have enough game experience to know, well, they changed the coverage on you, so you got to see what they've changed, and you got to adjust accordingly. And so a lot of the throws, a lot of the interceptions have been kind of he's predetermined in his head where he's going with the football before the play actually happens. And that's and all quarterbacks have done it. I'm guilty as charged too, where you have to see the play when it actually develops. And then the other thing is, you're in high school and you can get away with certain throws, and here at this level, there's you just can't. And you're also in an offense in high school where you throw the ball 50 million times. It's like if you throw an interception or two, it doesn't matter because you're going to throw a whole lot more touchdown passes than that. And so there's been a little bit of a cavalier, casual attitude about some of the throws, and a lot of those have been down in the red zone where you're not seeing what's really going on, and you're not making the correct throw. And so it's so much about you have to see the picture as it unfolds. You can't predetermine anything in your head, and then you just react off of that picture. And that comes through practice and repetition and experience and time. But a lot of his interceptions could be avoided, and probably will in the future. If they don't, then he's not your guy. Because if a guy can't learn from that.
Arizona narrative leading into the game last Saturday was they wanted to make it a get-right game. After getting trounced by K-State, they had a bye, and then they rolled into Rice-Eccles, and they had a get-right game. In the Scott Mitchell opinion, a get-right game for Utah on Friday night looks like what?
Well, when you have a bye week, sometimes you go, oh, we don't want to have a bye week because we're on a roll. In another case, like what happened to Utah, no, we need a bye week so we can get back into rhythm. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. A get-right game for Utah, stopping the run and running the football and everything else. This has been a Kyle Whittingham staple. I swear he says it to himself every night before he goes to bed. And when he wakes up in the morning, we're going to stop the run and we're going to run the football. And that's who he is. And that's who this team is. And you go back to those basic things about playing aggressive, keeping it simple, letting guys fly around the field and just react and just go play, come off the ball and just kind of knock them in the teeth. That physical play is what Kyle's been really known for, and that to me is what it will take for this team to kind of get back and get right.
So, are we talking double-digit win? Are we talking cover the spread? Are we talking get the hell out of Dodge with a win? What does it look like Friday night?
Well, it's always, win. But you've got to be explosive offensively in this league. In college football in general. The rules, the way everything is, if you can't score 30 points in a game, I don't believe Utah's defense is dominant enough to just hold people down and win those close ones. So you gotta score. If you score 30 points, so you can still run the football and score 30 points. It's not 5.
Mic drop from Scott. Little dial tone action. It's all good. It's all good. We got to get a break anyway. Appreciate Scott's time. Utah football is back this week. Our pregame coverage on Friday will begin at 4:30, so it'll make our show here in the afternoon a little short. Then Porter will take care of you up to kick with Bill, Scott, and Sly live in Tempe. Utah a 6.5-point favorite as of now. That line's moved a couple of times. 8:30 is your kick at Mountain America Stadium. I want to tell you about my friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you do is pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Definitely check it out. It's the best place to win real money this football season. So here's what you do. Go get a little free money that they're offering you as a result of them being a client on the show. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the promo code ESPN700 to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the promo code ESPN700 to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game all season long. All right, through 6 weeks of college football, 5 weeks of the NFL, I've had every single game. And then we've got the NBA starting. Hockey gets rolling. There is a way you can have all the sports you want at your fingertips in one place while also saving money, getting brand new equipment, and supporting local. Give them a call. It's Ryan from the Dish Pros at 801-424-DISH. What's going on, buddy?
Spence, thanks so much. This has been a wild week that we went through, and with this new merger that's happening where the investment group is basically taking both DirecTV and Dish and merging them together, it creates a unique situation. Doesn't really change much for me because I do sell both of them. But really, the big thing is if you are a customer of Direct or Dish, yes, they'll ultimately be the same company. But right now they're not, and this is going to be a little while out. And they still have availability that you can switch different from Dish to Direct or DirecTV to Dish and take advantage of the new customer offers. And guys, this is real money. This is thousands of dollars in your pocket, huge credits, price guaranteed, movie channels, NFL Red Zone free for a year. It's a very, very lucrative thing. And if you're a DirecTV customer, you just got a big price increase. You can continue to pay more for the same old stuff, or you can pay a lot less. And we're talking close to $100 or more a month that you can save. And this is cable customers too. You're also getting a price increase. Guys, this is the deal. Call us up. This is what we specialize in, upgrading you, getting all the games, getting the best equipment out there so you can watch everything, whether it's on traditional TV or it's on streaming, with one remote, one system, works on all your TVs, auto-record your games. Call us up and take advantage of these, and let us get you set up. And today we're doing a open house, and when we do these things, we throw a little extra money. So I've got $100 cash back if you call today. So call today, get the new promotion, get all the free stuff, the NFL Red Zone, price guarantee and credits, and let us get you $100 cash back. Plus, if on the internet, I got another $200 gift card I can offer you there, so you can get $300 cash back, plus lower your bill $100 plus. 424-DISH. Call us now, 801-424-3474.
All right, there he is, Ryan from the Dish Pros. More coming up on the other side right here on ESPN 700. All right, history in our state this week. It's a historic week. We get pro hockey. The NHL makes its official debut tomorrow with the Chicago Blackhawks in town. And coming up on Thursday, the PGA Tour returns to the state of Utah for the first time in 60 years. Patrick Manny, managing partner, Black Desert Championship, right around the corner, back on the show. Patrick, happy Monday. How we doing?
Doing great, Spence. How are you?
I'm well. So, simple first question. Are you guys ready? As I told you a few months back, I had the very, very fortunate opportunity to play the track and check out the resort. And as I walked into the makeshift clubhouse you guys had in the trailer, there's a sign that said, "Don't worry, we'll be ready," or something like that. So now that it's here, are we ready to roll, Patrick?
We are rolling. We had the Monday Pro-Am today, and I talked to, 30, 40 of the players that have been out on the course, and I think the most common words out of their mouth is, "I had no idea." Meaning the resort is just unbelievably nice. The course is in unbelievable shape. I even sent some photos, aerial photos, off to the PGA Tour, and they said they didn't believe they were real.
Yeah, and I can believe that. Even as someone who's lived in the state for 25 years, I've never quite seen anything like it. So now we know the field. The field has been released. We were waiting for quite some time to try to figure out who we were going to see down in St. George for the Black Desert Championship. I wonder if you could take us behind the scenes on the work you guys did to try to attract golfers to come down to St. George, and your reaction now that the field is finalized.
Well, we didn't do a whole lot other than we had Mike Weir and Zach Blair and Patrick Fishburne and some other guys that were out really telling everybody, hey, this is a no joke. This is like a world-class golf course. And but we didn't do a whole lot more. What we wanted to accomplish in this first year is going to get a great field, which we have, but then really just show the world how beautiful this area is, how fantastic the course is, what a game changer of a resort Black Desert Resort is. And then Tim West is like the player whisperer, and he was out there today, and he just said, Patrick, this is the nicest place I've seen. Like, it is the best. And he's like, these guys are talking I was talking to him last night in player dining, and he's like, they're all whispering like we had no idea this was going to. So that's all we want to accomplish, is have these guys have a great time, treat them really well, and then in year two, pack in a great field. This year we're gonna have a great time. We have a great field. We're just gonna build upon it.
I wonder, I know a lot of people up here, and every time I would talk about it on the show, get a lot of messages like, is there any chance Tony's going to play? Will Tony Finau play? He's not in the field. Patrick, can you shed some light on any potential conversations that took place?
Sure.
Was there a chance that we were going to see Tony this week down there?
There was a chance. He was trying to work some things out, but really, I gotta take my hat off to him. In the end, he had promised Drace, his son, who's going to be playing in his first national tournament the same week as our tournament, and he's captaining. He's the captain. And so he's just like, Patrick, I can move all the other things, but I just can't tell my son, never mind, I'm not going to captain your first national tournament.
Well, that's entirely understandable. And as you know, that's completely on brand for who Tony is, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So a really cool story. And a couple of our local TV stations went down to interview Jadon Blake. And I can't imagine, Patrick, what it must be like for a St. George boy to start his 500th PGA Tour tournament in his own backyard. I mean, he was crying when he received the news he was getting the sponsor exemption. Talk about this dynamic. Pretty cool story down south.
Yeah, this is the type of stuff you can't even make it up. Like you said, he grew up as a little boy here playing in the parks because he couldn't afford a golf course. And his mom drove him around to tournaments eventually, and they slept in their car and got cleaned up in gas stations. And, as you know, he became an incredible golfer, and 499 tour starts is just an amazing accomplishment. But he tried for 10 years, Monday qualifiers. He tried he wrote letters asking for exemptions, and he just couldn't get his 500th, and he had given up. And us bringing the Black Desert Championship to Southern Utah right in his backyard, literally only a couple of miles from where he grew up, that was just too good of a story to pass up. So I surprised him with a sponsor's exemption for him to get his 500th, and he's gonna start that just here in a couple days on hole 1.
Patrick, I have the forecast pulled up for this weekend. Just so you know, a little breaking news: it's going to be warm. It is going to be very hot down there.
Yeah.
I wonder what's
a little warmer than usual.
Sure. And ultimately we're going to blink and there's going to be snow up here and it's not going to be as warm down there. That's the deal. But are there any unique challenges that the heat brings for you guys this week as you're putting on this tournament?
No, not really. I mean, we're unfortunately having to overwater a little bit early on, so the greens they slowed up a little bit. But we're going to turn the water off and firm them up, and it was just a little bit more work, but no big deal.
So enlighten me on, because we've been talking about this a little bit. Do you have a 5-year commitment from the tour? Obviously, it's great to have it this year, but it's not going anywhere for a while. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we intend, when I say we, us and the PGA Tour, intend to do this for decades. However, we have to have a contract term. The contract term to begin with is 4 years. They were willing to go 7 to start with. It's kind of a long story. They didn't want to change title sponsors during a contract term, and we didn't want to commit to being the title sponsor for 7 years. So we said, okay, let's do a 4-year contract and revisit. Because it's expensive to throw these things on, and walking away from title sponsors means we're putting in a whole bunch of millions to pull this off every year.
So what have you learned throughout this process? So moving forward over the next 3 years, I'm not going to say you can do it better because I don't know how you're going to do it. We're going to find out this week, but the first time you do anything, it's hard. First time I sat in front of a microphone, I'm sure I was horrible at this. Some people probably tell you I'm still bad at it. But the first time you do something, it's not easy. This is your first experience. What are some of the lessons you guys have learned?
I got to say, we are really fortunate. We have an amazing tournament director, John Coolbaugh. We have an amazing set of consultants that run every year for the last 10, 12 years. The Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines, their whole team is here. And we have a lot of support of people who have been doing this for years and years at the highest level. And so I feel like we're pretty dialed in year 1. I think the PGA Tour said this is looking like a year 3 tournament in year 1, so good job. And so I think everything's pretty smooth, but we're going to find out. There might be a few hiccups, and I can probably answer that question better post-mortem than I can before the tournament gets going.
For sure. I don't suppose you'd be so bold as to give me your pick to win the thing, will you?
I don't mind doing that. I'll roll out Patrick Fishburne.
Patrick Fishburne. Very nice. Very nice. Well, hey, I appreciate the time. Anything else you want our listeners to know, Patrick, before I set you loose?
Oh, one more story, I think. A juxtaposition to Jadon Blake getting his 500th. We have Kihei Akina that's in the field as a sponsor exemption, and I love this story. He's 18 years old at Lone Peak High School. He's a number 7th ranked junior in the world, and I was sitting with he and his dad, Alan, over lunch, and I said, Kihei, how many PGA tournaments have you been to? And his dad piped in and said he has been begging me to take him to a PGA Tour tournament since he was 5 years old, and I've told him every single year, Kihei, the first time you go to a PGA tournament, you'll be playing in it. So
wow.
This kid is 18 years old, never even been to a PGA tournament.
Oh, that rules. That rules. Well, obviously, for me, as somebody who's really learned to love this game, I'm thrilled for you guys and appreciate the efforts to bring PGA Tour golf back to the state. Wish I could be down there. My day job calls. Maybe one day I'll have more control over my time, but I appreciate your time, Patrick. Good luck this week, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, Patrick Manning, the managing partner as the Black Desert Championship ascends upon St. George. The Black Desert Resort starts on Thursday, rolls through Sunday. It marks the return of the PGA Tour to Utah for the first time in more than 60 years. Tickets are available at blackdesertevents.com. You can also follow them on Instagram at Black Desert Championship is where you find them. All right, let's bring in Ryan from the Dish Pros. I've seen every football game through 6 weeks of college football. 5 weeks in the NFL. Hockey starts tomorrow. The Jazz start in 2 weeks. You can get all of your sports locally and nationally in one place, and you can even save money depending on your situation. You'll get new equipment and support local by dialing 801-424-DISH. What's going on, Ryan?
That's the thing is, guys, here's the deal. Did you just get a price increase? Did your bill just go up? Guys, this is the thing that we can help you with, and even more than ever, we can save you so much. Call us up today. Take advantage of the deals. We've got fantastic offers where the price is guaranteed. We can have you set open house today. So I'm going to throw in $100 cash back. This is for today. So listen, you don't have to be scheduled to get installed today or tomorrow, but you just have to get on our system, on our books, and we'll get you scheduled, throw you $100 cash back, get you the multi-sports pack free for a year, which includes the NFL Red Zone. We'll have also the best receiver out there, the Hopper. We can get you set up with that. And, guys, we'll save you money. That's what we can do. Get you all the games, upgrade your system, lower your bill. 424-DISH is the number. Call us today, 801-424-3474.
All right, give them a call. More of the Drive on a Monday. Coming up next right here on ESPN 700. to remind you guys to come hang out at Epic Brewing tomorrow at 825 South State Street during the afternoon. If you like beer and hockey, it's the first NHL game, regular season NHL game here in Salt Lake City as the Chicago Blackhawks are in town. I'll be down at Epic Brewing kind of hanging out prior to the game. Then we're all going to go over the game, so come hang out at Epic Brewing. It's 825 South State Street. The website is epicbrewing.com. If you like beer and hockey, you're going to love the new release from Epic Brewing Company. It's called the Utah Hip Check Ice Lager. It's a 7.5% Imperial Lager. It's now available in 16-ounce cans at Epic Brewing and state liquor stores. So come celebrate the new Utah Hockey Club and pick up cold, full-strength beers. And then they're giving away free hockey pucks. Tomorrow, just first come, first serve, while supplies last. They're really cool pucks. It has the Epic logo on it, and it's in preparation for the inaugural Utah Hockey Club game. Come be part of history tomorrow night at Epic Brewing Company. All right, if you missed it earlier, we caught up with Juuso Valinaki, a really nice kid, Finland-born. He's a defenseman, Valimaki, for the Utah Hockey Club. And, yes, I asked him if he's met Larry Marketing. Yes, he said he has. So there you go. Also, if you missed Scott Mitchell from earlier, some Utah football, just caught up with Patrick Manning to get you ready for the Black Desert Championship coming up on Thursday. A historic week in our state. The PGA Tour is back for the first time in 61 years, and NHL hockey is now a reality. Also, game week, of course, for Utah football, BYU football. That's run a lot of our content today. RSL picked up a win over the weekend in San Jose. They have clinched a top 4 seed, and they will be hosting a home playoff match. And the Utah Jazz have a preseason game tonight at the Delta Center. They're taking on the Rockets. It is a chaotic time of year, but in the best way with so much to get to. All right, we've got 3 hours down. We have 1 hour to go. Coming up next, the latest with Utah football and BYU football, and a look back on the chaotic game week in college football, week 6 style. And then you'll hear from Coach Witt. If you missed Coach Witt's media availability, we'll bring that back around. Then we'll say goodnight at 6 o'clock. Then it's time for the Saints and the Chiefs from Arrowhead. Monday Night Football. You can hear it right here on ESPN 700. Dissident, right? Did I get it right?
There we go.
See, I'm a man in my mid-40s. You're almost obligated. Well, a white guy in his mid-40s. You're almost obligated to know about Pearl Jam, whether you like it or not. Great band. Seen them in concert multiple times. Favorite band of Quinn Snyder. Little known trivia for you. If you ever are at the bar doing trivia And the question is, what is Quinn Snyder's favorite band? Or who is Quinn Snyder's favorite band? Or whom? What's the right way to say that? Who? Whom? What?
I want to say whom, but I don't know if it's correct because it's the band. It's a band. It's not like a single. I don't know.
Either way, you get the
Larry Kristoviak too.
Larry Kristoviak, great basketball. Larry, Quinn, me.
Who else is a Pearl Jam guy?
Great basketball minds that enjoy Pearl Jam. Yeah, it was a thing
Trio
over there. Like you could walk into the Jazz practice facility, they were jamming. Look, Quinn is from outside of Seattle.
Right, and that's the Larry connection as well. I believe he knows one of those guys like really well. I grew up with him from childhood, so there's the connection.
Well, the only thing you need to know is my fantasy football team is about to go 0-5. Yeah, it's bad. It's a bad scene. And I'm like, I built a dynasty. I usually win the league or finish top 3, and I might not make the playoffs this year.
Every empire falls at one point. But
well said. This is kind of like the Pats falling. I've been, the Belichick, Brady, Pats in this league.
Right.
Now I'm the Jets. It's bad.
Speaking of the Jets.
No. We don't need to do anything about the Jets today.
No?
What do you want us to go ahead? Your Cowboys got a lucky win, so go ahead and say something about the Jets.
I think the Jets should start Tyrod.
I like Tyrod Taylor. I always have. And I'm not a fan of Throw Rogan. He's done. It's over.
I know I'm being somewhat facetious there. You don't turn away from Rodgers right now, but yeah, I've been very consistent on the fact that you're turning towards a 40-year-old who, he's 40. I'll just leave it at that.
My team.
That's enough.
Puka Nacua, Tua Tagovailoa, Rashee Rice, Joe Mixon. I could keep going.
You built a team that should have been fairly good, but that's how football happens, as we saw last year with the Utes.
My first overall pick, nobody gives a rip about this, but it's making me sad, and this is a safe space, so I have to let it go. My first pick was Tyreek Hill. I wanted the compound Tua-Tyreek relationship. Tua goes down. Tyreek has been horrible. Puka's hurt. Mixon's missed a couple of weeks. I started Trace Sermon this week, and I believe Cam Akers, and they both scored touchdowns because that's, when you, like we were talking earlier, Coach Witt, Yankee fan, great football mind, me, same thing. So I know how to maximize the waiver wire, but as a result of drafting players that didn't want to stay healthy, I am screwed.
And what's the percentage you think on starting 0-5 and then getting to the postseason?
Not high.
It's low.
It's very low. I don't have the data in front of me. Maybe we'll get our PFF guys on it. But I'm in serious trouble. And missing the playoffs makes you really sad when everyone else is, in the playoffs going back and forth.
Especially the NFL. Like half the league makes the playoffs now.
You don't have to rub it in. But yes, we have a 10-team league and 8 teams make the playoffs, and I may be out. I may be one of the 2 teams that doesn't make the playoffs.
You may sneak in at that point.
I don't know.
If your roster holds up at the end.
We shall see. We shall see. All right, Monday Night Football comes your way coming up next. Should be a good one. Kansas City's a 5-point favorite over New Orleans in Arrowhead, so should be a good one. You have playoff baseball tonight. Me and Coach Witt will be cheering for our Yankees, texting back and forth about ASU film. It's not a big deal. It's my Monday night. Porter, what comes our way on a Tuesday show?
On a Tuesday edition of the program, Pablo Mastroeni, coming off of a weekend where RSL did get a few points. Spencer Hall stops by the program, of course, talking some college football with him. We'll give you our Big 12 power poll. John Wright, of course, talking some PGA Tour. We're going to have a golf guest almost every day, maybe every day this week, depending on how it fills out. And then, of course, Dave Fox joins us on a Tuesday.
2 Pelotons, 2 Emmys. I will be down at the Delta Center tonight for the Utah Hockey Club Chicago Blackhawks game. We are going to do 5 questions with Spence from the arena, so excited for that. Come join me at Epic tomorrow on State Street for our remote, and then have a couple of beverages. If that's not your thing, grab some food, come hang out, then walk over to the game with us. We're going to go see History in Salt Lake City tomorrow night. That'll do it. Special thank you today to Yuso Valimaki, as well as Scott Mitchell and Patrick Manning, our good friends from Epic Brewing. Little Coach Witt media availability for any of the sound you may have missed from the show. Go to the website. It's ESPN700sports.com. Make sure to download our mobile app. It's the ESPN app, and that's an ESPN 700 app. You probably already have the ESPN app if you're a sports fan, but check out the ESPN 700 app, which is free in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store as well. So check it out wherever you get your apps. And then finally, for what we do in our space every afternoon for 4 hours, check out our podcast page. It's called The Drive with Spence Checketts. That's available wherever you get your pods in 2024. We're there. Subscribe, rate, review, say nice things, give us all the stars. It helps. He's Porter. I'm Spence saying goodnight. Monday Night Football comes your way. Coming up next, we'll talk to you tomorrow right here on ESPN 700.